So what did everybody do today?
Went to the beach.
Who went to the beach? Beach. Who played games?
Nobody plays games around here unless they're dating.
Yes, he did. He was here.
Or chess.
And then some music production stuff.
What's that?
I did some music production stuff.
You did? That's awesome. What'd you do?
I went and looked at slugs and snails.
Slugs and snails. Awesome. So I'm still learning your system that you have to have 4 classes. I was telling Rick, well, let's give him a break. He goes, no, we don't give him a break. So I was like, okay, I was trying to give you a break. See, my students at South Carolina, if you ever think about college, we'd love to have you at CIU, Columbia International. I'll be giving you some CIU swag shirts tomorrow. Okay? So if you need more T-shirts, I've got them for you. So would you say there's a difference between self-leadership and leadership to others? Yeah, what is self-leadership? What's self-leadership? Think about it. Yeah, you do. Take the first word, self. Perfect. That is exactly right. Yeah. All right. Can you, I'm picking on you again. I'm coming back to you because you dogged me the first time, okay? So can you effectively lead others, the second one, if you don't do the top one, the self? Can you lead others without doing self-leadership? What do you think? No? All right. Unpack that deep answer for me.
Well, what I'm thinking of is to lead others. What you say that's the question?
If I'm not leading myself well, how will I do leading others?
I'd like to focus on yourself first and then lead others. Is that,
Yeah. What do you think?
yeah. Focus on yourself first and then lead others.
So what would good self-leadership look like for you guys? Ma'am? Yes?
Discipline.
Okay, so self-discipline, good. Do you know anyone that does well leading themselves, but maybe is poor leading others? Maybe vice versa, someone who is, they seem to be okay at that, but not good at this. So you said discipline. Anybody add to this list about what self-leadership would look like?
Yeah.
Give me one.
I had a word. Let me go.
Self-control. You said discipline, self-control, yeah. Prioritizing, love that. Girls on the back, self-leadership. Got nothing, huh? Got nothing. You got anything? What would be a characteristic of good leading yourself, a self-leadership?
Disciplined and consistent with yourself.
Okay.
Like, when you make promises, just keep them to yourself. Like, am I going to go to the gym 5 days a week? And you do it.
Cool. I like that.
Have good counsel from other leaders.
Good input. Yeah. Yeah. Would you guys put like spiritual disciplines in there? Like prayer, that kind of stuff? Yeah, sir.
Take action.
Take action. That's good. Yep. So we're going to look at Nehemiah chapter 2 if you have a Bible. And if I can get some readers. I need 2 readers, okay? Would you start me at Nehemiah 2, 1 through 5. And then I need someone to do 6 through 11. You 6 through 11? Thank you. And we're going to kind of stay, kind of camp there.
In the month of Nisan, in the 20th year of the king of Traxes, when wine was before him, I took up the wine and gave it to the king. Now I had not been sad in his presence. And the king said to me, "Why is your face sad, seeing you are not sick? This is nothing said to the king, "Let the king live forever. Why should not my face be sad when the city, the place of my fathers' graves lie, in ruins, and its gates have been destroyed by fire?" Then the king said to me, "Why are you requesting so..." Wait, what? So lost. Then the king said to me, "What are you requesting?" There we go. So I prayed.
I love it. It's only 4 o'clock, don't worry.
And I said to the king, "If it pleases the king, and if your servant has found favor in your sight, that you send me to Judah, to the city of my father's graves, that I may rebuild it."
And the king said to
Wait a
me,
second. Thank you. Word. All right, we're ready, Colby.
And the king said to me, the queen sitting beside him, "How long will you be gone, and when will you return?" So it pleased the king to send me. And when I had given him a time, and I said to the king, "If it pleases the king, let the letters be given to me to the governors of the polis beyond the river, that they may let me pass through until I come to Judah. And a letter to Aspis, the keeper of the king's forest, that he may give me timber to make beams for the gates of the fortresses of the temple, and for the walls of the city, and for the houses I shall occupy." And the king granted me what I asked, for the good hand of my God was upon me. Then I came to the governor of the province beyond the river, and gave them the king's letter. Now the king had sent with me officers of the army and horsemen. But when Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah the Amorite's servants heard this, it displeased them greatly that someone had come to seek the welfare of the people of Israel. So I went to Jerusalem, and was there 3 days.
Awesome, thank you. And that's where he kind of hung out for a while, 3 days. So we defined that having vision is a part of the dynamic of being a leader. And I think in order to do that, you have to risk. You have to take risks. So how many of you have ever been water skiing? Anybody been water skiing?
Does it count if you didn't get up?
I don't know, does it? So you've been water skiing? So I was 10 years old. I went for the very first time, and I didn't want to do it. All my friends went. One guy went once, one guy went twice, one guy went 3 times, one guy went 4 times. And it was about 4 o'clock, about now. They looked at me and they said, "Olshine, you got to go." Now, I didn't grow up on the lake, so I went out. And for those of you who've never gone water skiing, so you got a life jacket and you jump out of the boat into the water. And so one at a time, you put the ski on, right? And so each time, so you get the right one on, and as I'm getting the right one on, put the left one on, and then the right one comes off. And it happens to every rookie who's ever tried it. You're trying to get these things on. And meanwhile, I'm going like this in the water, trying to get these skis on. And my friends are going, "Relax, relax." And they're screaming at me. I'm 10 years old, 62 pounds. Don't know what I'm doing. And so the guy's like, "All right, grab the rope. When the rope handle comes around, grab it. And when you're ready, put your other hand up and get your skis straight." Now, this is complicated for a 10-year-old kid, right? So finally, I'm ready to go. I scream. I've been out in the boat, out of the water, like 45 minutes trying to get my skis straight because my feet are going like that, right? So finally, I'm ready to go. Scream, go, and the boat starts to pull me up, right? And I'm like this. And the water's just dousing me, just covering me. And I'm thinking, I'm going to die. And I see them going, get up. So finally I stand up, right? And all of a sudden I'm doing okay. But remember, I'm like 62 pounds, right? And so the boat is pulling me like I feel like I'm on a Bronco, right? And it's just yanking me and yanking me and yanking me. And all of a sudden I see them going like that. Does anyone know what that means? Go over the wake, not shark, thank you. The wake, boom, booyah, did a good job. I'm doing good. High five, give it up to, thank you. Stay with me. All right. All of a sudden, the boat is starting to get a little shaky. I'm getting a little shaky. My arm's starting to get shaky. I've never used these muscles before, right? And they're going like that. Help me out. Go over the wake, right? Booyah. I'm doing good. Help me out. Okay. So, but I'm just starting to get really shaky. And all of a sudden, I hit something. And I think it was hippopotamus, I'm not sure, but I went flying, or Ninja Turtle, or he went flying, and there's one thing they did not tell me. They did not tell me to let go of the rope. So I'm holding on for dear life, and I'm going, dear, 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 dear. I'm sucking air, I'm sucking wind, and that thing pulled me like 75 yards. And when I let go, I realized two things. Number one, my skis were gone, and number two, my swim trunks were gone. It's not funny. Even the fish went yuck. Now, it took me 7.5 years after that to get the courage to water ski again. You know why? Fear. Fear kept me from risking. When I did it when I was 18, I kept my swim trunks on. You know why? Staple gun. That was just a joke, bro. Just a joke. Okay. All right. So, I've got some questions for you today that I want you to process with me. Question number one. As we deal with leadership, Nehemiah had to make some very, very hard decisions. Tip number one, good leaders, great leaders, make decisions. So when the king said, what do you need? He said, well, I need timber, and I need this, and I need that. And he had like a list of 7 things. I need all this stuff. I need a letter, and I need money, I need timber, and I need Asaph to help me out here. So he had to make some hard decisions. So a great leader, a growing leader, whether you are managing yourself, and I find that sometimes, I know you can't read some of this, but I find that self-leadership is really formative, and this happens later. So even though you're kind of thinking maybe your grid is ministering and helping other people, which is great, but think about also managing you, taking care of you. So boundaries, like that's why I think it's important to know who you are. I think that's why I make my students do every year Myers-Briggs. I want them to know their temperament and what makes them tick, and are they an extrovert or an introvert? I want them to know, are they a dreamer? Are they more of a thinker? I want them to know, how do they make decisions when it comes to their gut or feelings or their worldview? So self-management is huge. All right, so here's our first question. I want you to take out a piece of paper, okay? And I'm going to have you process, all right? And there's just going to be a couple little quick hitters on each one, and we'll move on. We're not going to spend a lot of time. So the first question is this. This relates to tip number one. Leaders have to make decisions. And here's my intuitive question for you today. And there might not be anything left in your brain after this semester. I don't know. Here's your first question. What are some decisions you need to make short-term and long-term? They could be very easy decisions. They could be very difficult. So I want you to take about a minute, and I want you to write down from your life, and no one's going to see this, and we're not going to have a group therapy moment about it yet, but maybe later. What are some decisions today that you need to make short-term and long-term? And you might even just draw a line, put short-term, long-term. We're just going to take like 2 minutes. I want you to think about what decisions do you need to make. It sounds like a lot of you going home, right? So what are some short-term decisions you need to make and some long-term? All right, I'm just going to give you 2 minutes, and we're going to move on. Short-term goals, long-term, and you don't have to have 10. You just maybe one of each. A short-term goal and a long-term goal. Does that make sense? Okay. I'll be quiet. Does anyone have one that they're willing to share? And it doesn't have to be deeply deep or deeply spiritual, by the way. Got one?
When I wake up early.
I like that. Good decision. Well,
Yeah, well, then I gotta
you're not sure, right?
make a decision.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like that. That's good. Is that a short term or a long term?
That one's more short term, I think.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Someone got one?
Where to prioritize my time?
Is that short or long term? Or both?
More short term.
Okay. Anyone got a long term?
Whether I should go back home or move out of my parents' house.
That's a great one. That's a good one. Yeah.
For long term, looking into like what I'm gonna do for a job, I'm gonna trade some stuff.
Yep. Yep. Are most of you guys thinking about just going home and planting for a while, or some of you thinking about college, or what are you guys thinking in general? Or is it one of those, don't ask me that question, I hate that question? Where are some of you at on that long-term question? What about you? I'm just going to pick on people. What about you?
So we have like an internship this summer at a church over in Lahui, and so I guess my long-term decision would be whether it be staying here or not after that internship.
It's good. It's good. Back row, what's your long-term?
I just said being more disciplined.
Okay.
Just like physical activities.
Is anyone looking straight to like just going into the job field, workforce, and getting a job? Emma?
Yeah, taking over one of my youth campuses for worship ministry.
Awesome. Is anyone thinking college or not?
I'm going back to nursing school.
Awesome. Good. All right, number 2. Let's press on. Tip number 2, leaders have to pray and plan. Pray and plan. So that's exactly what Nehemiah did. So my charismatic, deeply charismatic friends, they are all about the prayer. My Presbyterian friends, they're all about the planning. And I think they both go hand in hand. I think you have to do both. And so we see Nehemiah praying, but also planning. And so when he said, what is it do you want? He was very specific. He said, I need to convince the king to leave for Jerusalem. 2, I could get the king to help me financially. 3, I need letters. 4, I need timber. 5, I need to ask the king for the title of governor. 6, I need to organize the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And 7, I got to start building these walls. Okay, so here's my second question for you that related to tip number 2. What's on your mind right now that you need to pray about, since you can't read, pray about, and what do you need to start planning for? So I want you to take 30 seconds and think about what's on your mind now that you need to, what are some things you need to be praying for? And what do you need to be planning for? And that might relate to God's plan for your life. Now, tomorrow morning is going to be really the fun stuff and the most important stuff I do with you, which is thinking about mission and vision. And we're going to get you out of this room a little bit tomorrow morning. Amen. Get you out of this room. Rick told me this room won't even be used in the future. Did you know that? Yeah. He's going to move it.
Obviously, you can't fit 40 people in here.
No, going to, well, it is, yeah, exactly. Tip number 3. God's leaders have to wait and discern God's timing. This is the one that is so tricky, is the waiting period and God's timing. And so my intuitive question for you now is there something you are waiting on as it relates for God's dream for your life? Are you in a period of waiting? And you don't have to answer that, but I want you to be thinking about, where are you on that? I didn't know that God was going to lead me into training the next generation of youth workers. I didn't know how that was going to work, and had to wait for the doors to open. And I just happened to go to a conference where I met this guy, and he said, what do you see yourself doing the next 5 years of your life? And I said, I have no idea. I guess I'll do what I'm doing now. He said, well, there's a position open teaching youth ministry at Columbia International University. And he said, I helped start it, but I don't want to do it, and maybe you want to apply. So I said, yeah, I'll apply, see what happens. Well, turns out they ended up picking me and Rhonda, and we flew in, and long story short, we've been there ever since. And it has just, so when people say, what's your dream job? This has been it. And I really love when some people can find a job that also fits their vision and their mission and their calling. And that doesn't always happen. You've probably met people who hate their jobs, and it's like, this is just not what I'm called to do. So,
There's also people that make their job illusion.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
It may not be like what they wanted to do,
Exactly.
but they still make it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what do you need to be thinking about as you wait on God for your, whatever that dream is for you? Number 4, leaders have to face opposition. So in chapter 2 and 3, Nehemiah is going to encounter some dudes who are going to basically mock him. In fact, they're going to tell him even if a fox were to jump on the walls, they would collapse. And so there's a couple guys. One guy's name is Sanballat, the Horonite, and Tobiah, the Ammonite, and they are going to be critical of him. And they're going to tell them that these walls are not going to happen. And Nehemiah says in verse 17, then I said to them, you see the trouble we're in? Jerusalem lies in ruins, and its gates have been burned with fire. Come, let us, not let me, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, and we will no longer be in disgrace. And he says, and the good hand of God was with me. So they replied, let us, corporately, let us start building. So if you're a leader, this is one of the most difficult things ever. We'll talk a little bit tomorrow morning about handling discouragement and how to handle something like you feel like you're supposed to do something and you got a bunch of people that are against you. And it goes back to my water skiing story about risking. You're going to have to take some risk as part of leadership. So, question. Right now, you might not be in a period of this, but what kind of opposition do you think you will face as you start to kind of move into this kind of kingdom vision and what God has for you? You will face it. You'll have people tell you that it can't be done, or you don't have enough money, or you're not mature enough. Even sometimes our parents will discourage us. They'll tell us that, I don't see you doing that. And it will take risk and courage to do that. All right, here's my favorite part right here. Leaders must discern God's vision. So right now we're going to talk about vision and mission. So vision describes what I call the where. Where are you going? You're like, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going. So let me ask you a question. Based on anything you know about Nehemiah, could you tell me in a sentence what you think his vision is? What is the vision God has given Nehemiah? Take a stab at it. Got one?
Jerusalem rebuilt.
You're getting there. Yeah, you're like 70% there. Yes. Someone else. Can you refine Colby's thought, because he's really spot on. Yeah.
Jerusalem coming back as a nation.
Yeah. And there's a couple more pieces with that, but they're both correct.
Is it like the Messiah coming from there? Like the Messiah coming from there?
Could be. I hadn't thought about that, but it could be. Yep. Anybody else?
Restoring honor.
Okay. So if vision is about where and mission is about what we talked about earlier, what am I called to do? What am I going to do? What do you think Nehemiah's mission is versus vision? I think you know. Go ahead, tell me. His mission is to what? You know?
Maybe his mission is something that God calls him to do, and his vision is his own hopes and desires.
So specifically, what is the mission? Thank you. Yeah, that's the what. That's the what. So Nehemiah's mission is to rebuild the walls. So his vision, see if we can take Colby's and everybody else's. His vision is to establish Jerusalem as a place of worship. He wants God to get glory. That's his vision. If you ask people, what's your vision statement, what's your mission statement, it gets confusing because there's a third step that I don't want to spend any time with really tonight, but it's the strategy. The strategy is the how. How are you going to do it? So that's usually almost the easiest part because we're like, I can conceptually figure out what a strategy is. So like, if you like, does anyone like NBA basketball here? Anybody like basketball here? You have a team? Why? You're from Houston, right? Anybody have an NBA team or not? How about NFL? Does anyone like NFL?
Board games.
No.
There's tons of strategy
No.
board games.
Oh, that's true. Who's your teams?
Vikings.
Packers? Vikings? Chiefs? Bengals? Clemson? Boo Clemson. Boo Clemson. My daughter went to Clemson. He likes Clemson. I don't know why. I don't like orange. They all have a strategy of getting where they want to get. They have to. You have to figure it out. So the strategy is almost kind of the easy one. So like I was reading about the Green Bay Packers. Is that your team? So the Green Bay Packers have a specific mission and vision statement, and their vision statement is to be a world-class organization that wins lots of championships. All right. Their mission statement is to win a bunch of Super Bowls. Okay, and then they have a strategy: build a staff, get great players, get a great quarterback. Sorry, you lost your quarterback. I know, but I still love him. He still throws sweet. He's got the sweetest throw ever. So they all have a strategy. So my question today for you guys is, as you start thinking about your vision and your mission, because I'm going to make us all do it in the morning, where is God taking you? And no one can really tell you that but you. You got to kind of figure that out. And what mission will you follow and implement? So my question now would be, why is David Olshine going to make you tomorrow? Why am I going to make you do this? Beside the fact that you think I'm killing time, which I'm not. Why do you think I'm going to have you do that? Why is that important? Because it's fun. That's good.
If we don't have a direction where we're going, there's no point.
Yeah. You know the Jim Burns. I don't know if you remember him, the bald guy. He always quotes. He always makes this quote like, if you aim at nothing, you're guaranteed to hit it every time. He always uses that kind of line. So yeah, it gives you direction. It's fun. I find that when you write something down, it cements it more than when it's just sort of in your head, right? So leaders must discern God's vision. And then last thought here. Leaders need to discover the mission that he has for you. I find that the vision is more out there, it's more future-oriented, and the mission is more present. So Rick Rick was like, yeah, these students, I'm glad you're teaching on leadership because they need to know they're the church of the future. I said, oh no, they're not. They're the leadership of now. You're the leadership of now, not the future. Now you are the future of the kingdom of leadership, but you're the leadership of now. We're handing the baton off to you, and you're going to crush it. You're going to do phenomenal. All right, I'm stopping there. What questions, comments do you have? I'm getting you out early today because I went long the other time. Yes?
How are you supposed to know what the vision is?
How are you supposed to know what your vision is? Great question. Next question?
It might not come to you in 2 minutes.
Yes, right. Group therapy moment. Let's talk about that. I don't want to be the only talking head. What do you guys think?
What if you don't know what for your life? Or what for? Like when you're trying to achieve, if you don't know what, how can you create a vision and mission for it?
Is that another question?
Yeah.
Good, great question. Next question. No. Let's go back to you.
Not just you. Sean, why? How do you do it? What? If you don't know what, how can you have a vision or mission? You can't. So no idea what. Very much. So do I figure out my what first?
Your what can be as simple as I want to follow.
We wrote down.
What's that?
I said, look at the model we wrote down. You wanted to rebuild walls. So what in your life do you want to do?
Don't you have to figure out your where before you figure out your what?
So your vision could be, I want to follow God when I go back home and not fall back into my old ways. So my mission is to put myself in situations that are godly. So I'm going to join my youth group again, and I'm going to be a leader there. Or I'm going to be a leader in my workplace. Show those godly qualities.
Does vision come from mission or mission come from vision? What comes out of what comes first?
Mission comes out of vision.
My class took an hour and a half and could not decide. I did. I'm serious. They were like, I'd ask the question, what comes first? You nailed it fast. But they had answers, but then they kept going back and forth saying, yeah, maybe not. I'm not really sure. And then someone was saying, what's more important, vision and mission? I think they're both important. I feel like the vision, and when I show you my vision statement tomorrow, you're just going to laugh because it sounds so stupid. But I feel like the mission is easy to grasp. What's his vision? It's to restore Jerusalem, but that sounds so nebulous, so mystical. What's his mission? Build the walls. Oh, that's tangible, right? So maybe some of you, like your mission, let's say your vision is to reach your area of Sacramento or Colorado or you want to impact youth for the kingdom of God. But maybe your mission is very specific, like I want to work with high school athletes. It's very specific. Or I want to work with surfer dudes or surfer girls or whatever. Did you have a thought, Kobe?
Yeah, I was just like, it goes back to, I was thinking where we had short-term decisions versus long-term, where it seems like your vision is kind of like, hey, if my missions continually to succeed, this is what the end result should look like.
It's good. Excellent. So back to you, Green Bay Packer guy. Did we answer your question? We did?
Oh, did you? I don't know.
All right, what was your question again?
If you don't have a what are you supposed to do? Basically.
Sir,
My coach always talks about like knowing your why, and it's like
knowing your what?
your why.
The why, yeah.
Obviously, you can get really easy with it and just be like, our why is to honor God in everything we do, but you can just keep working it down and down. So like,
Sometimes you don't have why. Sometimes there's
yeah, you gotta find that.
yeah, but sometimes you just can't find it. Like you're in the same life, and that's like, right, who was it that book? Just like go until you get to know. Yeah, I think you still can't just stop because you know why. There's a lot of times in life you don't know why.
I find it easier for God to lead me when I'm moving than when I'm sitting. You know, when I'm moving in faith, I think it's easier for him to go left, right, straight. If I'm just sitting, it's hard for him to pick me up.
Part of that is like if you don't know what your what or your why is, prepare yourself to be a leader no matter where God puts you, and like pray for a vision or a mission that God could give you, either in a situation or just something that He said, like what breaks your heart, like stuff like that. Because there's stuff even in the waiting season is a season of preparation for even if you don't know what you're preparing for.
Those waiting seasons can be really long. And so what do you do in that meantime?
Yeah, I think you've got Joseph in the Old Testament who's like thrown into a cistern, and he's there for quite a while before God exalts him. I think you see that scenario all the time in Scripture. You know, he's birthing something in you in the midst of adversity.
I think you kind of answered your question with your question, whereas you said, what do I do if I don't have a what? Well, your vision is, I want to understand what I'm supposed to do with my life, and your mission is grow closer to God and hope He shows me that. So.
My main point was, for those two questions, when we answer them tomorrow, what do we do if we don't have a why?
Well, like, what gets you up out of bed? What, like, fires you up? Like, when you wake up, what are, like, the first thoughts that come to your brain? What do you want to do with yourself? You just want to wake up and be stagnant and not do anything with your life? Like, there's something that drives you. I'm asking.
No, I have to. It was more perfect. Because if you would ask me, like, this question was asked like 2 weeks ago.
So if you've ever seen the movie We Are Marshall, it's about a plane crash. Marshall University. Anybody seen this movie? We Are Marshall? One person. You seen it? 2 people. So the plane crash goes down. Nate Ruffin is like the star athlete. He didn't go on the plane because of shoulder injury. And so all 70 plus players and managers and everyone dies. And so he wants to play once they get the football team going together, and he's grieving over the loss of his teammates. And so there's a scene where Matthew McConaughey's the coach, and he's in their locker room, and he goes, you know, Coach, why? That was my team. And McConaughey says, I just don't know. And I think that it's okay to be able to say to God and to other people, I'm in a season where I just don't know. And that's okay. And I think eventually God will bring you out of that. But I think that it's a season all of us will go through. Let me give you something just for 3 minutes that has helped me, okay? And this is super non-spiritual, okay? You guys okay with that? Just for like 30 seconds? Okay, so this is not from me. This is a friend. He says, one of the ways that you think through some of this is think about what are the things that you are passionate about. Okay, I think someone mentioned that. What are some of your hobbies or skills that you could put to use? What is your personality like? Because some people will think, oh, God could never use me because I'm like this, blank. So there was a guy at my school named Nathan Milazzo, and when he was 2 years old, he crawled out to the parents' swimming pool and he drowned. Okay, and they rescued him. He lived, but he had brain damage, and so he came to our university as a young adult, and you know, all the classic churches, no one would hire him because he has a learning disability, he can barely speak, and it's when you meet him, you just realize off the chain, this kid has had a rough life. And yet, I said that he was saying to me one day, and this is kind of how he talked, Osha, what do you think I can do with my life? And I said, Nate, I don't know. But this I know, there's a place for you in the kingdom. Well, today he's in Montreat, North Carolina, serving in a church, and he's a prayer coordinator. And he loves it. He coordinates prayer teams and does all this stuff, and the church has just welcomed him in. And so think about your personality. All right, here's a weird one. Where you want to live and don't live. Okay? Now, I know it's super non-spiritual here, but I think it fits. So when I started looking at youth ministry jobs for myself, I said to myself, where do I want to live? Where do I not want to live? I don't want to live in Mississippi. All right, I'm just being honest. I don't want to live in Mississippi, and I don't want to live in redneck Alabama. I just don't. Okay? What kind of church do I want to be a part of if I want to be a part of church? Well, I want to be a church of diversity. I want whites, and I want blacks, and I want Asians, and I want Hispanics, because I think that's the kingdom. Now, maybe you're in a season, you're in an all-white church or an all-black church or whatever. That's fine, that happens. So you start thinking through things like, what am I passionate about? What are my hobbies? What's my personality? Where do I want to live and not live? What I want in a church? And the last thing is, what kind of people do you want to surround yourself with, i.e. friendships? I think all of that is so practical. All of that plays into your vision and your mission. And especially like dumb stuff like hobbies. Like, okay, well, let's say you like surfing, okay, you don't probably want to live in Middle Tennessee. Right? What's that?
What are the last two on the bottom?
Your personality and friendships. People you want, friends, people you want to surround yourself by.
There's another one I didn't get.
Where do you want to live and not live? Diversity. What kind of church do I want to be a part of? Hobbies. And then my other friend says, you got to add one more. What skills do you have that can contribute to the kingdom, which could be a part of your vision and your mission? So, when I go take groups to Mexico to build churches and stuff, I want engineers, I want carpenters, I want people who are skilled at that stuff. But I also want prayer people. Any reaction to any of that kind of boring, non-spiritual stuff, but actually practical? Any reaction to any of that? Yeah.
I'm doing what I believe God's called me to do, and that's through my hobbies, skills, passion, where I am, and
Friendships, skills.
who I can connect with, so friendships, and that's to play music at rest homes.
Yeah.
So it's not something everybody can do, and it's something that I can do, and I love doing it.
Yeah. Did you have a thought earlier?
No.
I saw the hand. You're not going to hate me for saying where you want to live, right? You okay with that? Because there are some churches I bet you don't fit in. Let's say you want to be in a church someday. Like I'm not going to fit in a hyper charismatic church that throws around snakes. Okay, I just won't deal with that. Nor am I going to be very good in a Reformed church that's all about Calvinism, that they believe God caused that to come to. Not every event is caused by God. I won't deal with that well because I don't think that way. So does that make sense? So there's certain cultures you would fit in better than others, and it's okay to be able to say, like I have too many students who are looking for youth jobs, and they'll accept the first one because their parent has told them, you better get a job because we've put a lot of money into your college and you need to start paying us back, or you've got a bunch of loans. So they take the first one that comes at them, and they haven't done the research. And I always tell them, man, finding the right church or the right organization or right fit is like a marriage. And you don't date for 1 week and then get engaged for 3 days and then get married the next week. You don't. But that's how a lot of churches work. They want you to make a quick decision fast because they've been looking for a year or 2 years. Colby.
Yeah, I was just your thoughts on the opposite of that, where I feel like there's a lot of times where maybe you don't want to live somewhere, but God's still calling you there, especially.
You go. I moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I did not want to go there. I didn't even know where Oklahoma was. I had to look at a map. I didn't know where it was. we went there for an interview, and they offered this job, and we were praying, and my wife said, I think we're supposed to come here. I said, I think you're right. We didn't want to go, but we went, and it turned out really good. But not great, but good. But the Lord used that job to take me to my next place where I am now, which was supposed to happen. Yeah, I think you do. I think you go. I think if you feel God's leading you somewhere, but it's against everything in your being to go there, because like, I am not going to be going roll tide. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to move to Alabama. Okay, I get that. Roll tide. Good stuff. Hey, may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you. May he lift up your countenance. Help me out. You got to say this. And may he give you. All right, we got to say it again. You got to say shalom. Don't say peace, right? May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you. May he lift up your countenance. May he give you. Shalom. There you go. All right. It'll take a miracle. Goodbye. All right, see you in the morning, 9 a.m. Peace. Thank you. Peace out. Thank you, buddy.